fuck ever. Don't be annoyed by my stupidity. I
Oh,
don't give a fuck.
yeah, no, I for the most part we're okay. Yeah,
I just sort of laugh whenever stuff like that happens. I press mute and I giggle, and then
right,
I'm
right,
over
yeah,
it.
and
Oh
then
yeah.
we just move on, right? Yeah, kind of like you do at any normal gaming table. I honestly
Yeah.
do not treat this any differently than and cameras played at my tables in live sessions. I treat this no differently than if we were playing around a table.
Oh sure.
I see a lot of stuff. I saw a lot of people online saying that, oh, the minute you start, putting it on YouTube and what the game changes. I'm like, oh, fuck, it does. There is no reason for that mentality. This is exactly the same style of game that I would run at a table. The only difference is in what we see on the screen, and it actually, in a lot of ways, I've incorporated a lot of what we do on Roll20 into my live table games, where now I always have a screen. I'll have something up on the TV, or I actually have a TV in the game room that I would throw stuff up on for maps like this, or sometimes you rather than describe a monster, it's just easier to put a picture of it up on the screen. Be like, hey, that's what you
Oh
see.
hell yeah.
You know. And so, and I also like the fact that you can use the screen. Using the screen with a map on it, it facilitates more of the theater of the mind type play, as opposed to, and Cameron see me do this too. Set up, $2,000 worth of, Dwarven Forge or, WizKids Warlock tiles and painted minis, because then all of a sudden the game is no longer a role playing game. Now everybody's just counting squares and they're
Yeah.
playing chess. And
I
you know,
really don't want more than 10 tokens on the field at any fucking time. That's us and them combined. That's
right,
just me.
right,
If more than 10 tokens need to be done per round for too very long, then your combat has just gotten slow and long.
well, and to make the
And you can
dungeon,
do it quicker in Theater of the Mind.
well, and to make the dungeon interesting, you can't. Well, you. So the problem with like Dwarven Forge and things like that is that your players are going to sit down, and they're going to see the entire map laid
Oh,
out
yeah.
before them in 3 dimensions, and that's unfortunate because a lot of that, a lot of the benefit of Theater of the Mind is that hesitation, the anxiety of wanting to know what is around the corner, what's in that next
Yeah.
room, and if the map's already laid out, you already know what the layout of the room is, and so everybody's brain switches from that anxiousness to suddenly plotting and scheming and wanting to know where every exit is because they
Yeah.
can see it on the map. So yeah, I'm a much bigger fan of this style of play. But anyways, welcome to the Pirates of Drinax. We will be picking up where we left off last week. These guys are en route to Theev, and they were kind of taking the long way. Now, I'll ask this question in a minute. But anyways, they are taking the the longest indirect route to get to Theev. Well, no, I guess it's not. I guess it's just a lot of empty hexes in between that you're jumping over. But you're jumping mains and all sorts of fun stuff because you were coming from Tech World. But before we get started, we'd like to thank a friend of the Greenwater Guildhall. None of these are sponsorships or partnerships of any kind. They are just products that we really like. And tonight, we would like to thank the Speechless Bard. The Speechless Bard makes leather products for your tabletop role-playing games, such as leather covers for your core rulebooks. She's got a dice rolling mat that when you roll it up, it looks like a spell scroll. She has this really cool item. It's called I believe she calls it the Spell Compendium, and it is a box that is bifurcated, so one side can hold like spell cards, and the other side can be used as a dice tray. And on the inside cover is a magnetic spell slot tracker. It's really quite cool. Excuse me. And so, um, if you were going to order, and this is especially true if it is a gift idea, but even if it's for yourself, give it a little bit of extra time. So order early, especially with the holidays coming. You're going to want to keep that in mind because she is over in the UK, and so it takes a little bit of time making its way over. If you are a fan of the channel, we have a merch store on Zazzle. The store has buttons and T-shirts. There is a button and a T-shirt specifically for tonight's campaign, the Pirates of Drinax, with the Pirates flag logo on it, made by Cameron. And 100% of the proceeds from that store go directly back into the channel. So if you want to help us out, go get yourself a T-shirt. There's a fleece blanket on there. There's a beer stein that works really well as a coffee mug. There's a I am toying around with the idea of adding a Proback embroidered hat. Now I have noted that some of the, I thought it was all of them, but it's not. Some of the T-shirt colors seem to be currently sold out, and they appear to have been sold out for quite some time. So, but there are other colors that are in stock and available. So. Just be aware that the color options are possibly limited. I might have to go in. I don't know if the supplier is no longer available. I don't know. Zazzle doesn't really tell me anything. They just, here's your store. I'm like, oh, good. Thanks, guys. It's not the best option, but it does for now. All right. So my question was. There was some talk of you guys wanting to, at some point, because swing by Thebes, because you had heard something about an Aslan ship, a Hati ship being shot down there. But I wasn't sure if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to go to Theev first and maybe hit Thebes on the way back, because you know you're probably going to be coming back out this way, or what your plan was.
We ought to go into Theev and check on how the prince is progressing with the campaign.
Okay, yeah, that's probably the best bet because it has been shit.
In route to Theev, though, I would still like to continue the intelligence gathering. Specifically, I want to make sure that our anti-Aslan pirate dude, if there's been any sign or word of him or his ship that we believe has been destroyed, if there's any sign of that, on the other, after the time we think we killed him.
So essentially,
I would like to know that.
So essentially, every time you come into a system, you're going to be picking up their whatever their current TVN newsfeed is. Yeah. And so go ahead and make a electronics comms plus intellect or education check.
No whammies. 13, motherfucker.
Okay. So
yeah.
Way to go.
So you do pick up there. I mean, you don't know if it's Peter Velas or not. You do pick up some news about that there have been some pirate strikes along the Sindalian Main. But these first of all, it's not really news. I mean, there's constantly pirate strikes along the Sindalian Main. I mean, this whole region is known for it. So this is more like, third or fourth page news. It's right next to the ad for the Sea Monkeys, little blurbs. But you do pick up another piece of news out of Drinax. And the news that comes out of Drinax is that Empress of Sindal, Lady Hill, has married King Oleb. And
So he's alive?
well, he is in a coma. And she, in this news article, is claiming that this was Oleb's final wishes, that he had professed his undying love for her and married her. Now, this is not good news, because, well, a couple of things. So, one, I mean, she has, since you guys have been a part of Drinax, she has made it known multiple times that she can trace her lineage all the way back to the old empire. And she basically had a disdain for almost anyone who couldn't, which, let's be honest, that's most of the court. Oleb, Harrick, and Rao, of course, they could trace their lineage back, but most of the rest of the courtiers could not. And one of the things that just pissed her off to no end is that almost everybody, well, literally everybody on the floating palace had been granted some kind of title of nobility. Like, even the janitor had, he was a knight of such and such. Everybody had a title of nobility, and it pissed her off because none of these people were anything more than peasants, and they couldn't trace their lineage back, and they were nobodies. So she has, I mean, nobody ever checked. I'm not even quite sure, I guess you could go to the Scholars Tower to do like a DNA test and back it up, you know what I mean? But nobody ever really checked to make sure that her claim was correct. But if she is married to Oleb, that more or less secures her claim on the throne. That's the first part of the distressing news. The second, I mean, it doesn't make her, it wouldn't make her more suitable to, or it wouldn't put her ahead of Harrick, but at least with that marriage, whether she did or did not usurp the throne really doesn't matter anymore. The second part of that that is rather distressing is that if she's now married to Oleb and he's in a coma on life support, there's really no need to keep him around anymore. So, I mean, by the time that you guys get this news, he may already be jettisoned out the airlock.
Yeah.
That was his actual real last words, was he didn't want to be kept around indefinitely by machines, so
Right.
that might not be the worst thing.
Right.
Oh, but if he's been in a coma all this time, perhaps if we released some alternative news, perhaps some really cool videos and recordings of Oleb in his last moments, some slight doctrinization to make it look like he's accusing her of wanting to kill him and cause him harm, lay out a fake trail showing where, she had certain people interfere with the grav belts and all that. We could do all that and just release it out, and then as we go on our way, that seed is planted, and it might be doing stuff to make it harder on us. At least it would keep the infighting on her end going on while we figure out what the fuck we want.
True.
And it's something to do while we're in space.
Oh,
like,
and
not a lot to do.
Yeah.
I love a good fucking PR smear, almost as much as a good kidnapping. And so, I mean, yeah. So I think, with Kevin and everybody okay with that, I want to compile an excellent little news to counter what we've done on, to make it look like she, even Oleb thought she was trying to kill him in the end. And I want to add a lot of of conspiracy theory shit and rabbit holes to make it go down. I even want, in the video that I release, I want to challenge her lineage, saying that it's a fraud, that she was, yeah, yeah. I want to really go for the throat, you know? I want to braid her genitals so that when she helicopters, her fucking balls fucking hit her knees like a wrecking ball. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's 2023.
Well, that was for a friend that doesn't like me talking.
That guy.
Man that watches us because he don't like me talking.
That D-bag, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, and what's funny, and you can find my responses to some of these. I mean, people.
I was the guy that called Borman a coward. Just saying. That was me, and I play Borman. So if anybody fucking got a problem with that, fuck them. Because that's my guy.
Like,
he was straight up being a coward.
What I have found, and this is especially true for YouTube videos, is that the people watching seem to think that they have some kind of right to tell us that we're either playing wrong or we're doing something wrong, or that we should be doing something a different way, and I don't like that you do this. And my response, I've said this a couple of times, like, well, YouTube has a lot of content available, and if you don't like it, you are welcome to fuck right off to another video by clicking the back button and watch it instead.
Oh, but they keep watching. Yeah.
Why don't they just join the game? We can always use more players.
Right? Yeah.
It's probably because I offend them with my. What was I talking about that really offended the motherfucker? God, there's so many.
There's so many things. I mean, how can you pick just one?
Propaganda.
It was one of the guy Joy did, and I was talking about the words, the keywords about sucking off elephants and shit.
Yes, the keywords.
Yeah.
That guy. Oh man. Oh, they're just vulgar.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
I am a vulgar, dirty adolescent boy.
we also laugh at fart jokes.
You got a pretty good mustache for an adolescent boy.
I glue it. I trim my pubes and glue it right on. Little bit of fucking conditioner, That's that beard balm they talk about at the beginning of the
Wait, slow down.
show.
I'm writing down the instructions for later.
Oh shit. So there another
cover up my mind's eye.
So another piece of news, you get two other pieces of news, and one of them is in political news. I guess it's political, possibly political. It seems that all along this border here, of course, this is the border between the Aslan Herate and the Glorious Empire, and everything that's yellow is Herate, and everything that's gray is Glorious, and or not so glorious, as the case may be. So I mean, you can look at this border, and you can see that the Glorious Empire is. They did not pick a good spot to build an empire. So, but according to this news, the Herate recently has been sending less ships, and their harassment of the Glorious Empire has lessened. Now, that you can't. I guess you can't say that it's political, and you can't. And of course, the TV and news network is coming from a human-centric viewpoint. And one of the things that the Imperium, one of the problems that they have, is that they still have it in their head that the Aslan Herate is one nation. And you guys, of course, know very differently. It is a conglomeration of clans that, for most part, usually work together towards a common goal. But it's not like the Aslan Harrick has a navy. No, this clan over here has a navy, and that clan has a navy, and that clan has a navy, and this clan over here, they decide they don't want any part of that. They're just going to go ahead and be merchants. And so, I mean, it's a cluster, but the Imperium just doesn't seem, they can't wrap their head around that. It's not like the Aslan Harrick as a whole could declare war on anybody. They could encourage that because they have, the Tlaku, which is their council of 13 clans. They could kind of suggest that, but it's not something that they could have, total consensus on. Clans are more than capable of doing whatever they want. But what this news report is basically saying is that there is less harassment of the Glorious Empire currently going on, and it is noted that there are ship fleet buildups happening more along this border. And I'm not even going to try and say that word because I'm going to butcher it. But in Kusai, and of course Katora. Katora, you've already been to Katora in the past. Not Ting and Gregor, but Beth and Keith have been to Katora. It is a launching point for Ihati warbands. Basically, they all get there, pump each other up, and then decide what planet they're going to go try and take some land on. And so, you can take it with a grain of salt. When they say, "Oh, there's ship buildups at Katora," well, there's always a ship buildup at Katora. In various states of disrepair. So who knows? So there's that. And then the final piece of news that you get is talk of this Imperial fleet. And I need to find another book. I can tell you a bit more about said Imperial fleet. Because there's so much going on with that it's too big to keep in my brain. So this Imperial fleet, and you have been basically told, you've known that this Imperial fleet is kind of bopping around the Trojan Reach. Nobody's quite sure of what are they doing? Is this just a flag waving exercise? But this article gives a little bit more knowledge. Evidently, the fleet. I guess technically he's an admiral. I don't think his actual rank is admiral though. Anyways, his name is Krond, and this is not a small fleet, and it they list it as the 198th Punitive Flotilla. It has a planet class heavy cruiser, 75,000 tons. They are escorting a Galoot class mega freighter. Those are in the 30,000 ton range. Named the Prophet of Zomon. The planet class cruiser is actually the flagship. It is the Eurisco. There is a Ritchie class escort named the Gorloon. A Queen Elizabeth class 1,200 tons liner named the Petal. 6 Gazelle class close escorts. Sapphire, Morloon Lake, Black Knight, Duke Alphonse, Ignel, and Sentinel. There are 3 tenders that are 1,000 tons each, named Angel of Mons, Master Smith, and Excelsior. There is an Ufhednor class escort carrier named the Storm of Arrows, 4 patrol corvettes, the Courage, the Conviction, Lion Hunter, and Tobias Bright Lance. And
See, man,
there
all
is
these are big ass ships.
yes, they are. And the last on the list is a Watchdog class fleet picket named Glint. And the article is saying, how great this is, that the Imperium is showing showing the flag and telling the people of the Trojan Reach that that we care about them, and the reporter hasn't actually done a. It doesn't seem like the reporter's done an interview with this Captain Crond or Admiral Crond, but the reporter is posturing that this punitive fleet is going to put an end to the pirate menace. Now, every time a Imperial fleet like this, and this is not the first, every time an Imperial fleet comes through, there are news articles about, they're going to put an end to the pirate menace once and for all. And
that sounds like they're responding more to the Zoes than fucking really pirate. I bet those motherfuckers are really more for the Zoes, the motherfuckers with the ghost and all that shit.
Possibly.
I bet they're fucking responding to rumors of fleet buildup more than these big ass ships, man. The little shit we've done. I mean, we kind of just dinged up a couple things and maybe stole his treasure ship or something.
Well, yeah, the treasure ship really.
Or just nuked an Imperial escort.
Well, but they kept that. I mean, didn't this group steal the treasure ship?
Yes.
We stole stuff from inside it. I thought we were
Okay.
going to take the whole
Specifically,
treasure.
one of the things that probably the most important thing that was stolen from the treasure ship was a false treaty that they know. You guys know that it's bullshit, but essentially they've been using this false treaty to kind of scare worlds into joining the new kingdom of Drinax, because we're safer together than we are apart, kind of situation. And basically what this treaty says is that it basically allows the Aslan to come in and take whatever they want from the Trojan Reach. I mean, that's not it verbatim, but that's essentially what it says.
I want to go in and tie the Empress into piracy too.
You could, but you might want to be careful doing that, because if
she could be like, I'm tough on crime now, or whatever.
Well, or if things go south and the truth really comes out, it could tie you back into that, because you really were part of the whole pirate.
I was actually gonna plan on using the Ting persona in the news article to actually, have the interview. I'm like, yeah, man, Lady blah blah. I keep forgetting her name. I'm sorry.
Lady Hill.
Lady Hill gave us a commandment to go free those prisoners from the thing, and if there were any Imperials in the area, to give them a what for. And that is what we did. And then I point to the fucking medal, and she awarded this. Right there. And
the medals that you paid to have made.
That's right. Yes. And I mean, just do that. I mean, because I'm already fucking a notorious motherfucker. So I mean, it's not like that's gonna go away. Why not build on it? I've got Jug I can be and not be in danger of.
So, if for making this this
document news.
So you're basically altering this video because you had your video drone
That's right.
as OLED
And,
was,
yeah.
mangled. Yeah, so you're gonna. I would say go ahead and make a electronics comms plus intellect or education because you're
Electronics.
basically doing video editing in the
Understand.
travel time.
Is it all right if I take my time?
Sure. I mean, you've got several weeks.
Yeah. Now the whole theme is okay. I want to take the fucking crew droid, and I'm gonna call him Disco Doc, the fucking AI journalist, and he is gonna be interviewing me with the pre-script shit, and I'm really gonna do it up cool. But Disco Doc is gonna be my fucking journalist robot, and
Okay.
I'm gonna try to make him famous.
Well, shit.
14.
Yeah. Okay. So you come up with this altered video that essentially does what you wanted it to do, and it with a 14, it's pretty damn believable. I mean,
I'm good.
Yeah, that was a formidable check, and so yeah, this is highly believable.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thanks, under my shirt.
and can I go ahead and make it look like she's extorting Captain Beth to have any part of her hand in it, so that way Captain Beth fucked around and looks better, like she was forced involvement.
Yeah.
Because I will show video of her talking to Captain Beth, looking kind of talking
I mean,
and whispering.
the video comes out like you guys can't even tell that there's a green screen.
Damn
cool.
right.
Good work.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and I'll be releasing this across the whole fucking everywhere we go. I want to drop my news article, Disco Doc's documentary series of the Drinax destructive fucking terror.
Well, I mean,
a lot of D's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so then the question is, where do you? I mean,
like as soon as we come out of jump space, and I'm like, as we're about to come in, I'll call like the whole crew together in the thing, and I'll go, hey man, y'all got to check this fucking shit out.
So
and fucking yeah, I'll play the story for us, and then when we come out of jump space, I'm gonna drop it off to all the news agencies I can. I will pay people 1,000 credits a pop to go fucking play this across their news state. I will rent advertising in systems to fucking play it out. I'm gonna make some fucking noise.
Yeah, so I mean, to buy airtime,
airtime in multiple systems. I want to do it across the Dust Belt. I'm willing to take out of my personal pocket $250K.
So between where you are coming and where you are going,
that's a pretty hefty investment.
Yeah, I'm serious. $250K I want to spend on fucking spreading my story and buying airtime, advertising. I mean, if I got to hire a booking agent or something to run around and get all this done, then so be it. But I really want to flood the fucking entire fucking Dust Belt with this fucking Drinax news story.
So yeah, if you'd actually be looking at more like 14,000.
Done. I'm removing it from my sheet right now.
Okay, because basically you're buying airtime and advertising with TVN and of course the local systems network, and so they're going to be playing it, and of course when they play it, that's going to get picked up by whatever ships that are traveling through, and they're going to carry it with them wherever they go. So this is kind of how news propagates out here, because you'll notice, so like up here in the Imperium, you've got these green lines. Those are X-boat routes. You'll notice there are no green lines in the Trojan Reach, and so, or at least outside the Imperium, the Aslan kind of have their courier ships, but in the Reach, news and mail is basically carried by independent parties for the most part. And so yeah, these ships, it'll broadcast it, they'll pick it up, they'll take it with them, and it will propagate on its own. And so you have dumped it, at every point along the way. And so this news is slowly going to propagate, and of course there are a number of weeks as this will spread. But you can, like, from Noricum, I mean, it's going to spread like wildfire up the Sindalian main. So
love it,
because that's a 1 parsec main. So they're only a week apart, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At the end of 10 weeks, it will have likely propagated all the way across the Dust Belt.
That is a beautiful return for my investment, and hopefully that really affects the story.
Well, yeah, it is going to have an effect. But so finally, after all this time, I mean, you're talking about nearly 2 months that you've spent in transit from Tech World to Theev. Almost 2 months, maybe a month and a half, 2 months. You're close to that. You come out of jump at Theev. And as usual, Theev, it should be reiterated that Theev, for a lot of people in the Trojan Reach, Theev is nearly mythical. It's the boogeyman under the bed. This idea that there is an entire world that is run by pirates is, I mean, it's like a fanciful bedtime story. But it's true. And so when Theev is
Did we come in through Palindrome?
Yeah, you could have.
I got ransom.
Yeah, you could have come in through Palindrome because you got a 2-jump ship.
We'll just do it after we leave Theev. That's okay. Yeah, I don't want to interrupt.
Well, I mean, if you want to pick up your ransom, you can.
That's what I want. My boatload of money for stealing Imperial Noble and selling them back.
So that total comes out to 1.5 mega credits.
All right, that goes into Captain Beth's fund of ship stuff. She can give it to crew or whatever she sees fit.
Wait, what is 1.5? Is that what you said?
Yes.
1.5 million credits for kidnapping and extorting.
Do you want them? Well, you were doing the whole crew is solid with the video. Do you want to take your editing costs out of it? That would be
fun. I'll do. Well, I mean, if you just want to give everybody a couple of 100,000 or whatever, or give everybody some change, and I'll get it back after that. I really have more money than I know what to do with. And
oh, okay. How many
I'm at
people
850. Yeah,
3, 4. Right?
I'm sorry.
It's 4 of us.
Yeah, there's 4 of you.
375,000.
375,000.
Yep.
Yeah, see, that makes up for any fucking incidental cost I did.
Oh, what do I do with all that money?
Whatever the fuck you want, man.
Oh, don't worry, I'm coming up with some money. There's going to be some opportunities to sink some money here, fairly soon, and it's not going to be too far away that there's going to be some hard decision making as well. So you guys show up at Theev, and as usual, Theev really is a rather high traffic port. They of course have their high port, which is a asteroid that they have moved in, some small moonlet that they have artificially moved into orbit around Theev, called the Skull, and because it has been lasered to look like a floating skull, and in the eye sockets and in the nose and various other points are lots and lots of missiles and guns. And you guys, of course, being Lords of Theev, you automatically can transmit and you can land on the surface. But most other traffic, they have to land, or they have to dock at the skull and then are shuttled down to the planet surface unless they are given special recompense to do so. And so it is a high traffic system, but there are a couple of transponders that are showing up that are a little bit odd. The first, let's see. Well, they're all pinging as civilian craft, but then they have a second transponder that is pinging as Royal Bodyguard Squadron. And there are two of the vessels are Type T patrol corvettes named the Stalwart Bastion and Heroic Fortress. There is a Type A2 far trader named Fort Crienda, and there is a Type S scout that is simply named Royal Messenger. And the final ship, which is actually docking with the skull, is a broadsword class mercenary cruiser that's pinging as Sindal's Sword.
Think I should hail that?
If you're doing
Sword?
you could do that if you want.
They're currently maneuvering. They're currently in docking maneuvers, docking with the skull.
If Prince is here and that's his shit, then that's all right. Those are our ally ships. If
you can say hi,
they could be our allies, but they could not. They could be from somebody else.
I mean, everybody in the Trojan Reach wants to claim to be the next Emperor of Sindal. I mean,
right?
You know.
All right. Well, yeah. I'll go on and hit a thing up. You know. I'll identify myself as Ting Hansen. I mean, you can fucking shoot me here if you want, but we're pirate lords, and that's our fucking.
Well, I mean, are you hailing them? I mean, I.
Yes.
Okay. So what are you hailing them with? What are you saying?
Oh, this is Ting Hansen of the Drinax Mystery Patrol, and you know, who are you here with?
So their response is kind of it is very professional. It is very terse, but at the same time, there's like a hint of, you know, we're pinging as Royal Bodyguard Squadron. If you don't know, then you know, then maybe you shouldn't know.
What royalty are you the bodyguard?
He told the comms officer of this broadsword, the Sindal Sword, replies that they are the Royal Bodyguard Squadron of Prince Richter.
Huh. I don't know who that is.
So you do.
Yeah.
Prince Richter is the. You've heard this name before, Richter Grihai. He was the nominal head of the Grihai movement, of the weird, kind of sort of racist militants from Paul that gave you guys the guns. Prince Richter is kind of their nominal figurehead, and which they took their name from, the Grihai movement. And Prince Richter Grihai claims to once again have his, you know, everybody who talks about him claims his lineage goes all the way back to old Sindal, and that's why he's named, or they call him Prince Richter. They have not overtly made, nobody has made any kind of claim that Richter is wanting to be the next Emperor of Sindal or anything along those lines. He simply wants to stop the Aslani Hati from overrunning the Trojan Reach.
Think we should ask for a sit down with the prince?
He's already heading planet, or will be heading planet side, for a meeting with Prince Harrick of Drinax, the king in exile.
Oh, well, allow us to offer safe and luxurious transportation to Prince Harrick, as we are his royal guard. You tell him that you're riding with Ting Hansen, and he will co-sign us.
So, according to that's unnecessary because and let me double check this.
Well, I mean, any kind of shuttle or whatever the fuck he's taken from the moon and all that is going to be.
He's already on the planet's surface.
Oh.
Where is?
Oh, darn.
Well, then we need to go ahead and go to
land.
Yeah, I guess we need to land. Yeah. But that gave us some information on what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, he and his retinue took one of the modular cutters and docked before you came out of jump.
Fair enough. Can they give us the comms data for Prince Harrick?
Well. So Prince Harrick.
Harrick, not heretic. Damn it, Wes.
So Prince Harrick has which one is it? Yes, of course, has secured luxury suites here at the Grand Hotel.
Which is where we have our luxury suite.
Right. You guys have a one of several penthouse suites up there. Having Cameron being a newly minted Lord of Theev. And so Harrick, of course, has taken up several rooms, royal suites in the Grand Hotel. And yeah, you can call his room. You get one of his attendants that basically tells you that that the prince is currently at court.
Perhaps you should tell the prince that Captain, Queen, Lord, Her Highness, Goddess Beth would like to have a quick word with him and announce our presence. And I think you would do well to inform him.
Yes, he tells you yes, he will inform the prince that you are en route to the surface. He has been anxiously awaiting your arrival.
Oh, cool. I hope he's made some progress.
So, yeah. Beth, if you are going to land, go ahead and make a piloting plus dex check.
Okay. 13. I did really good.
Yeah. So you set the Osiris down on one of these pads over here at one, and of course with Theev, when you come into land, all of their landing bays kind of like Tatooine, the first Star Wars. They're below the ground, but the difference here is that when you land, they have a black clamshell that comes up and covers the ship so that nobody from orbit can zoom in and look and see who is parked there or what is parked there. And so you guys dock an Anubis, of course. Anubis docks with the Skull. Most ships just don't have any real need to land planet side at the downport. It has, as you can see, it has fairly limited docking space and facilities, but they can shuttle back and forth from the Anubis.
I think we're going to send everybody that was part of the cash cow.
Yep.
I think we could send all of them to the Skull ship.
Okay.
Right? Sure. Or do we want to keep them with us?
No, they can go try their luck other places. On the other ships, I mean.
Yeah. So as we depart, we're going to make sure that they are not part of what we don't know them really too much yet, you know, and their trust in how far in our rabbit hole we're really going to let them in, you know. My thinking is I
they're
don't want
probably amazed we're thieves.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, they are. This is, I mean, if you're looking to make a first impression as pirate lords, this is a pretty huge one because as you know, as you guys are stepping off of your docking ramp onto into the hangar, you can see that there are 3 widows that are walking up towards you, and all 3 of them look identical. They obviously clones. You guys know a bit about the widows of Theev. And she comes up and she addresses Beth. She says, Captain Smith. And she hands Beth a portable computer and basically a tablet. And she says, this is the report to let you know that the 2 Harriers that you had docked at the ship facilities on the Skull have been completed and are ready for you to take ownership. She says, I won't go over the rules of Theev. You're a lord. There's clearly no need. As you guys are, the rest of you are kind of walking down the ramp, the Marine captain comes up and kind of taps Gregor on the shoulder, and he says, are we going to be in port for a while? I was wondering if the men could have some R&R.
I'm okay with it.
Captain
I
said
think
it's
they
okay.
oughta-
You can do shifts.
Says, I'll see to it. And
I'm going to stop that Marine, and I'm going to tell him that I'll look him dead in the eye, and I go, when you personally go out there on the planet, you need to find me a ship's captain for a Harrier, and your reputation will be totally attached to how they do. We need a good, solid captain for one of our Harriers, and it's your job to go track one down. And then I'll give him 10,000 credits to use for carousing and recruiting purposes.
Okay, I mean, the Marines aboard the Osiris, they've been here before with you guys, and they, you know, this is one of the better places to carouse because I mean there are there are bars all over the place, there are casinos, and if Theev is interesting in that it is basically, it's got 2 types, country and western. And so up here, this is the upper city, and it is all nice and neat and spotlessly clean, you know, under a dome, and it looks like a very preem. A lot of cities throughout the Reach would kill to look like this. It looks like it should be a capital city. Then you have the lower city, and that's where the dregs of humanity live. And you know,
that's where the good shit's for sale.
Right there. I mean, there's drugs, there's vice,
love it.
Hookers.
Awesome place.
And pretty much almost anything goes. And so the one rule, of course, is that no weapons that can possibly breach the dome, because nobody wants to be breathing dust. The second rule is that you cannot kill anybody or get into, preferably not even get into a fight, anywhere where there is a red flag. And the penalty for either of those is the same. A widow will kill you. But pretty much all of the upper city is considered a red flag zone. They just are not going to tolerate violence on the streets in the upper city. The lower city, there's certain areas.
Can we give all our crew like a calling card or the Black Widow to be informed of any one of our crew on the Anubis, the Osiris, as we name and man our two new Harriers. We want all those crew, if they get in any kind of trouble or anything else, we would like to be notified, and we would like to be able to advocate or do punishment on our crew as we see fit. If they break the rules and need to be extinguished, we can handle that.
I mean, yeah, you can. I mean, depending on what actually happens, that is a possibility. They would be willing to contact you and let you know what's going on. So yeah, you guys take ownership of these two new Harriers. So you'll need to come up with another couple of Egyptian names to go with them. And
I think we wanted Isis is one.
Isis,
right?
And I don't know, Set.
Set's good. I think
Bastard.
Cameron had one. Yeah, I think Cameron had one in mind. I don't know. I named the Osiris, I believe. So, I mean, it's really other people's turn.
Right.
I'm sorry, but I'm into Greek gods.
Oh,
Mars.
Egypt
Mars
is the place
would be a good
be.
name. Put a lot of nukes on it.
Yeah.
How about a couple of planet busters?
Right. So, you guys make your way. You know, you kind of in a good mood. You make your way and are met by the attendant, and the attendant kind of. How are you guys dressed? How are you showing up?
In my Sindalian fucking uniform with my shiny medals.
Huh?
Yeah, I've taken a sock and kind of rolled it up and put it in my jock area, kind of to the left side. You know.
What about the rest of you? How are you?
I have socks for everybody.
You should look formal, right? We go to court.
Why, thank you, King. Can I have a big one?
Hell yeah, this one's slightly used, but here, have fun.
Yeah, you guys are heading to the court of Prince Harrick.
Well, I don't want to be disrespectful, so I'll wear whatever is appropriate attire for that.
Okay, so you guys are showing up in.
Well,
dress.
I'm gonna do my pretend Scottish.
Okay, yeah, that's perfectly acceptable.
And dressed like that.
So you are met by the attendant who hastily kind of rushes you into the court, and so Prince Harrick has taken over several suites here in the Grand Hotel. Actually, not far. The royal suites are not far from. They're like maybe one level below your guys' penthouse, and you come in, and there are. He opens the door and announces you. Captain Beth Smith, Knight of Yggdrasil, Ting Hansen, Gregor, Keith. You guys are all announced.
We're all sirs now.
Yeah, you're all sirs, basically, yeah. And so he announces you as you all make your way in. And everybody, there are several people in here. They are all smartly dressed, suits and I wouldn't necessarily, not quite ties, but pretty much everybody's wearing suits of, they have like a military cut to them. Not that they're necessarily dress uniforms, but they're of that style. And Harrick is kind of meandering around this large, it looks like it was probably a dining hall, a private dining hall. And he's kind of meandering around, flitting from group to group. And there is one gentleman that is moving with him, almost, I wouldn't say attached at the hip, but, he moves along with Harrick from group to group. And in the middle of the room, of course, is a large holographic map, a table with a holographic map, and it is the layout is actually a hologram of the floating palace, and they've been discussing a possible invasion of the floating palace, and a couple of military commanders are from the Hawkmen are discussing, acceptable losses. They are still in the early planning stages because things haven't been quite going as well for Harrick as he would have hoped. He has hired some mercenaries. The Lady Hill has really sunk a large sum of the palace's fortune into hiring mercs from the Glorious Empire, and so these Hawkmen commanders are like, is this even feasible? Are we going to be able to get through whatever blockade that she's got set up, et cetera, et cetera? And Prince Harrick is claps his hands together and he says, "Oh, my friends, you have finally arrived. And did you find good fortune on Paul?"
Yes, we did.
Excellent. So, what did you find?
We found 6 mega credits of gold and silver.
So he's a little, you can see the look on his face. He gets a little disappointed. He's like, he's like, and he says, and anything else in the vault?
We found crew off of the cash cow.
We in the vault.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What did we find in the vault?
Well,
we found a bunker.
There was some crystal. What is it? Crystal iron.
There were some fabrication devices and stuff like that. But
all right.
We gave them to the Sindalian descendants to manage. They're currently selling weapons.
His face drops even more. He's like, so.
But just wait, they're selling weapons to people that are supposedly serving this other prince that you've got a meeting with. So, I mean, that should be helping out his cause that helps out yours.
And the man standing next to Prince Harrick says, you must be referring to me. And he holds out his hand, and he wants to shake your hand. He says, my name is Prince Richter Greenhigh.
Oh, wonderful. I'm Ting Hansen. And we dealt with some people who claimed to be your followers on Paul, and they were wanting to manufacture firearms, and we set them up.
And so Prince Harrick says, yes, Prince Richter has been telling me about his movement, and Richter kind of laughs and he says, I have followers in places I've never been. I've never set foot on Paul. He says, I've never even been to the High Port. He says, but I have followers all over the place that have taken my message and they've taken it to heart. And he says, we must fortify the Dust Belt, we must protect against a Aslan invasion. And he says,
they were using biochemical. They were using biochemical warfare that really kind of put the Aslan in a feral state. It was fucking nuts.
He says,
and
that's distressing. He says that's very distressing, and Prince Harrick is kind of shocked at this news as well. And he turns to Prince Richter, and Prince Richter says, I know nothing about this. He says, he says, my movement and my people are not. We're not racist against the Aslan at all. The Aslan have as much right to live and exist as we do, but we have to fortify our planets, because if we don't, the Aslan Ihati are going to come in and just overrun us. And it's a very difficult situation. He says, but we would never resort to using chemical warfare or biological weapons. That is absurd.
Oh, the information, sir, is please don't take it as an accusation. These are simply honest accounts of our travels and our missions. As Captain Queen Lady Macbeth has issued that we be truthful and supportive of your cause.
Does she want to show the scar across her belly?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, in the middle of a courtly meeting with two princes. Yeah, hey, look at this.
Hey, look at this. Aslan, Gerald Aslan gave it to me.
The things
It's
that
just like a C-section.
the things should we tell them about the Zohati and the Imperial fleet kind of going through? Should we talk to them about that?
Yeah, they could be made aware if they aren't already.
Yeah, then if that's the case,
That's
we'll
a
give
big
them an
point.
open and honest account of all that shit that we found.
So-
the Zohati, the dealing Rao was having with them, just break it all down, and even
Oh,
tell
the
them,
Jodani.
yeah, and how the Imperial has a huge fucking ball busting fleet, kind of cruising through. And then, I'll give them data sticks of my wonderful article that I produced and is dispersed across the Dust Belt.
So
Let's see how the prince likes that.
So the first part. So Harrick knew about. He was there for the Jodani part.
Correct.
But in fact, he was there when his his lovely sister was shot.
Oops.
But he is intrigued by this news about the 198th Punitive Flotilla, and he's intrigued by it because Prince Harrick. You're starting to learn that, kind of unlike his father, Prince Harrick always seems like he's playing 3D chess. He's spinning plates and inside of plates and inside of plates. And he kind of postures out loud that perhaps if he could have a meeting with this Captain Crond, or Admiral Crond, of this 198th Punitive Flotilla, that perhaps he can get aid from the Imperium in assisting him to get back Drinax.
Well, I don't know if I necessarily should go there on that mission, but I have this data stick of an excellent news story that I cooked up. And
so the part about the news story...
Like and subscribe, Disco Doc.
So the part about the news story, he's not mad at you, but he is instantly infuriated by the news that Lady Hill married his father. And he brings up exactly what I said, that assuming that his father at the time of that news article was alive, with her marrying Oleb, she no longer has any need to keep Oleb alive. She has what she would have needed to secure her butt on the throne. And so he is pissed about that, because he knows that he's like, my father had no intentions towards Lady Hill. She was an annoyance at most to him. He tolerated her.
Yeah, we all did, and probably shouldn't have.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here he thought she was just a bitch.
If you recall, I asked if we should kill her when we walked into the throne room, and I was told
you had good instincts, man.
Yeah, I was told to chill out, but if we'd have off that bitch right then, Just
My
saying.
my garrote is getting itchy.
Yeah. But anyway,
So
I'm not really saying I told you so.
So
I'm
yeah,
having fun.
he is impressed with your video editing capabilities, and he's like, whatever it takes to discredit her, is excellent.
Well, if this Imperium flotilla that you're talking about meeting with could go and dethrone her and put you in place, provided that you spearhead an anti-piracy campaign to allow trade to continue to go through the Dust Belt, then
He says, but that really kind of puts that really throws a wrench into what we're already doing. He's like, it almost hits too close to home. He says, because let's be honest, it's like my father's one who hired you guys to be privateers.
That's correct.
And it would hopefully that knowledge won't come out.
I just kind of thought,
Yeah, I like this idea. So.
we might be able to, if we can steal enough from Drinax that she can't pay the mercenaries anymore, they'll be wide open. So maybe that's the way that we should go about this.
So if
I
he has
like to steal
access to
shit.
the treasury, he knows how to get to the treasury. We could be given that information. We could get in,
Somehow.
sneak into the treasury, steal the money, and get out.
And then just
I
wait
like that.
and get
That
abandoned.
sounds fun as fuck.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
plasma grenades, with stealthing. Oh fuck, I'm in. Oh hell yes.
So
yeah, I gotta put in an order for 24 grenades.
Maybe
maybe
Prince Harrick would like that, because then we'd steal the money, but then he'd get it right back when he goes over there. So it's like, we're borrowing it.
Yeah, Herrick seems like he might like this idea as well. He at this point he pretty much dismisses you, tells you that he will be in contact with you soon, and you guys make your way back to your penthouse, and
and I spend an hour in the shower.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
And so you guys get yourselves cleaned up, and there is a the door chime rings, and there is a protocol droid that delivers an invitation to you.
C-3PO showed up.
Yeah, basically. Delivers an invitation to you to meet with Prince Richter in his quarters.
All of us?
Yeah.
All right, it's not a sexy invitation then. Let's go.
So you guys make your way to it's one level down in the Royal Suites, and you come into Prince Richter's private suite, and everybody make a recon plus intellect check.
Let's see. Recon.
I got boxcars, so I got 15.
Whew, yeah, you noticed.
I got 14.
Ting notices nothing.
I am just fucking so hyped about the idea of going and stealing shit. This fucking cool, man.
So everybody except for Ting, you notice in his suite there are the trappings of power and wealth, and I don't mean just the regular decorations. I mean that he has efficient servants. You notice that there's probably about a 50-50 ratio between protocol droids and actual human servants. They bring out the highest quality of champagne for you to sip on, and caviar and things of that nature. You also noticed that there are armed bodyguards at various points in this, and I mean the suite's rather large. They're there, but they are making an effort to blend in, to not be in the way. And what, and again, everybody but Ting, what you realize is that Richter is essentially doing or presenting himself the exact same way, or he's doing exactly the same thing that King Oleb used to do, but he's doing it in a much classier way. Oleb would bluster and make sure that everybody saw his wealth or saw his bodyguards or saw, the ceremonial armor. Richter, all of that stuff is in place, but he's doing it in a classy way that doesn't make anybody feel, nobody feels threatened in his presence. All of these things are there, but he's not being overt about it. And Richter makes small talk about, the art that is hanging on the walls, that he finds it, very nice, and he wouldn't have expected things like this to be on a planet that is essentially run by thieves and pirates. He's just making small talk, and basically what all of this is saying is that I'm extremely rich and powerful, but I'm not treating you like underlings. Instead, I've chosen to meet with you as valued associates. And he finally sits down, and there's a large white circular couch, and he sits down and he says, "So you're enough with the small talk. I mean, none of you are stupid. You know that I would have had an agenda other than just getting to know you."
I just think that you should have some more security around here. I mean, you're just wide open. It's like nobody's watching your back.
He says, I am here on Theev, trying to secure a powerful ally with Prince Harrick. And he says, I think that if Harrick and I were to present a unified front, the Aslan would not, or they would never dare to try and take on both of us if we were unified. And he says, the Empire, the old Sindalian Empire, there's a lot to be said for Harrick creating a new kingdom of Drinax and rekindling the Sindalian Empire. That is probably, in his opinion, the best thing for the Trojan Reach, and the Aslan would not dare to have tried to encroach on the old empire. He says, even today, the empire casts a long shadow, and he says, true sons of Sindal, like Harrick and myself, have a duty to shield those dwelling on the frontier from the Ihati threat. And he says, I really hope that while you were on Paul and you met this Grihai movement that has sprung up in my name, that you didn't get the wrong idea about me.
Really, we did notice that you didn't have really a direct connection, and nobody had even seen you. That was, our research and intelligence had suggested that.
He says, well, that's good. I know, he says, I know that some of the smaller chapters, like the one on Paul, I know that some of those guys can come off sounding like yokels, yahoos, that their idea of dealing with this kind of threat is just to shoot it. And That's not always the case. He says, with Aslan Ihati, and you may, it is my understanding that you have had some dealings with the Aslan, so you may be more knowledgeable than many others. But what I have found is that if a Ihati camp has tried to take land, we have to dislodge them as soon as possible, because if they stay and they dig in, then they get very territorial, and if you then try to remove them, their parent clan can show up and declare war on you. And so my goal is to dislodge them as quickly as possible, preferably to not allow them to take hold at all, but that's not always something that that can be done.
It was the ship, that one ship, Star something or other. You know what I mean?
Yes, the
Dawn Searcher.
Dawn Searcher, that's the one.
Dawn Searcher. Hey man, yeah, good job, Keith. There was the Dawn Searcher that was dropped off. It was a ship had gotten access to the fucking Hayati site, and it was they who did the biological warfare. It wasn't your people.
So yeah, he says the Dawn Searcher and this biological threat is a concern to me. And he says I think that King Oleb's approach in the past was, to put it lightly, rather aggressive. He says, to obtain wealth and exert influence by essentially pirating ships that are moving through the territory. And he says, he's like, I get where he was going with it, but it seems like it was a bit aggressive. But he says, I don't want you to think that that I am trying to convince you to act against Prince Harrick. I am merely wanting to offer a mutually beneficial agreement. And he says, I have information on a rather underhanded deal to bring weaponry and industrial machinery to a new Ihati colony. And he says, if that shipment were to be intercepted, that would, of course, make me happy because they wouldn't get their weaponry. And you could take that weaponry and equipment and do whatever you want with it, or give it to Prince Harrick in his, extra weaponry and equipment, of course, would be welcomed by Prince Harrick in his coming battle to take back Drinax.
Excuse me, but if we were to say intercept this ship and take it and all its contents, would you be willing to agree to purchase the ship at 1/3 its value?
Yeah. Make a persuasion plus social check.
Because I'm Team motherfucking Hanson. Oh, here we go. There we go. Roll them up. Be good, baby. 13.
Okay, so yeah, he agreed. He said, yeah. He said, I would be willing to do that. Yes. He says,
is there a limit? There's just
I
one
of course
ship,
can always use. I can always use more ships. But he tells you, he says an Ihati band has managed to secure a foothold on Thebes, and you guys have heard about this. And they've arranged for equipment to be sourced from nearby markets. And he says that there are very few merchant captains. There are no skippers, almost, that will deliver to the Ihati, for various reasons. Most of them genuinely fear dealing with the Aslan. or they fear being blackballed from other markets for helping Ihati. But he says this particular skipper has agreed to make these shipments, and I'm sure he's being paid handsomely. So and aside from the equipment and weapons that he's carrying, he may be carrying quite a bit of money with him too. I don't know what the arrangement was, but in a lot of these cases, they will take at least partial payment up front. And he says, if what happens to the skipper and his crew, I leave that up to you.
How would you feel about sabotaging the equipment and selling it to the Hayati anyway, and then taking the ship and you buying it at a third? They get sabotaged equipment that's irreparable, but we would like their money too.
He says that
aren't they like honor bound to murder us in return? Like, I don't think that you're allowed to fuck them over.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They're like Klingon cats.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you wrong them once, you may not get a chance to wrong them a second time.
So you're
And they have
telling
long
me
memories.
you telling me to use a selective identity when I rip them off, and I'm not against that.
He says he says that wouldn't actually be a terrible situation. But I leave it in your capable hands to deal with them how you would like. And he
I love that kind of attitude.
he tells you, he says that the ship is a Type A2 far trader named Principled Profiteer, and he says he brings up on the table a hologram basically showing information about this ship. It looks like just a typical tramp trader. It does have a list, a litany of connections to dubious deals, down to outright smuggling. But it seems like this ship always seems to stay one step ahead of the authorities. It is part of this information that he has from a anonymous source is that Principal Profiteer has agreed to make this delivery on Thebes, and he says it looks like the cargo is likely large quantities of hardware, but likely some weapons as well. And he says, in my opinion, I think the Ihati on Thebes made the mistake of trusting one too many people. And he says, this anonymous information may actually have come from a crew member of Principal Profiteer. I don't know. But I've had my people check this out, and we are fairly certain that this is credible. And he has the schedule for the next couple of runs, and evidently Principal Profiteer, this isn't a one-time thing. They're making multiple trips back and forth. And so he gives you the schedule and of the next couple of runs, and he says, maybe you guys do what you do.
Your Highness, would you be against letting us hire from your people reliable crew that'll follow instructions to man one of our new ships?
He says most of these people I have not ever met. So if you can, if you don't mind dealing with some locals, hire away.
Oh, yeah, I just thought maybe you had some personal people, maybe a leader guy.
He says, unfortunately, I have, I mean, despite what you may see or how I may act, I actually have an even smaller operation than Prince Harrick. So I don't really have the personnel to give up.
I hear you. Well, can't Can't be mad for me begging.
So he says you don't have to decide whether to take this on right away. He says please, sleep on it and let me know in the morning. You can go back to your quarters and discuss it amongst yourselves.
I think we should take it, but sure, yeah.
So
I like stealing everybody's everything. That seems great.
Yeah.
We could just, I'm all for it. Yeah. You're talking about, you want us to go get some shit from somebody and they don't want us to have it? Oh, that's
We're
great.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So yeah, you guys are sitting around kind of discussing the it sounds like you guys are for this.
Yeah.
You're kind of
just
just
sentiment.
sitting around your penthouse suite, discussing how excited you are for this. And
We
Ting,
need to name the other two ships.
yeah, what do you know?
Did the Invigilator get blown up? I swear it did.
The what?
The Invigilator
Oh,
a long time ago.
Yes, yeah.
That was one of the best ship names like ever. So we could name it Invigilator 2. This time it's personal, but we'll just call it Invigilator for short.
Okay.
All right, so
So I
that's
need
one.
one.
One of them is Invigilator.
Yeah, I
then
like
we-
Invigilator.
All right, we need the other one. I picked Osiris, and I think it was Ching Shi that picked Anubis, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken. Yeah,
I-
so it's
Gregor
either
or Keith
Gregor or
named
Keith
it.
needs to name the fucking ship. Dildo is not acceptable because this is a good fighting ship.
You try and type it into the name transponder, it rejects it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately. Sorry to break your heart.
Rejects it.
As I said earlier, I'm not into the Egyptian gods, so
Pick a Greek one. Go for it.
Mars.
All right.
All right,
Mars.
Mars.
Yeah, Mars and Vigulator, right?
Invigilator.
And Mars
Invigilator.
needs
Yeah.
120. Mars needs 128 nuclear
Is it
missiles.
EN or IN?
So we need to come up with crew for all our ships. Okay. Invigilator. Yeah.
I spelled it wrong.
That's okay. I wouldn't have spelled it right no matter how I tried.
So you can hire a crew right here on Theev. Number 6 here is the Mergen Consortium, and they are essentially a clearinghouse for mercenaries. It's kind of their entire building is kind of set up like a union hall, and there are digital boards up on the towards the ceiling on the wall, basically showing personnel that are available for hire. So you could hire troops from there. They are fairly professional.
Are there any crews available?
I'm sure that if you wanted to make your way over there, you could find crews available. But as you guys are discussing this, the door to your suite opens up, and Prince Harrick comes in, and he comes over, and Ting is sitting there with a bottle of wine, and Prince Harrick sits down next to Ting, grabs the bottle out of his hand, takes a big pull on it, and sets it down on the table. He says, "I don't trust that man."
Wow, you don't get that kind of candor out of him very often.
Yeah.
Well, he wants us to go fucking steal his ship and stop a supply of weapons over on Thebes, where we believe an Aslan ship has crashed.
He says, interesting. He says, Richter wants to recreate the old Sindalian Empire, and he wants to put himself at the head of it. And he says that is entirely counter to, obviously, what we're doing.
Yeah.
He says, he's essentially trying to do exactly what I'm doing, or what my father was doing, and kind of trying to undercut me. He says, so He says, there isn't going to be any new order with Richter. I'm squashing that right now. He says, Richter and his Greenheim movement could be useful allies for now. He says there's certainly no point in picking a fight with them. He says, but I can see that the day is going to come when I'm going to have to put a stop to Richter trying to dominate Drinax. He says, so for now, he says, I want you to accept Prince Richter's offer of cooperation and work with him whenever it's profitable. He says, if you can capture this Ihati shipment, he says, if I were to get some of that equipment and weapons that would make up for the disappointing haul from Paul, he says, and as far as, Paul goes, I don't want you to think that I was upset with you in any way. It is what it is. We knew that there was it was entirely possible there was nothing in the vault at all. He says, but given the situation, 6 million credits is better than not. He says, I could have used that crystal iron and manufacturing equipment, but now that I've thought about it, having those people on Paul, those remnants using it, that may give us a free and open port in the future, especially for you, who will be going out and are essentially my reach for the kingdom. He says, so work with him whenever it's profitable. And he says he says I actually brought you something as a token of my appreciation. And he gets up and he goes to the door, and you can see that there are 2 protocol droids that come in, and they are carrying cases. And he sets the cases down on the table, and he opens each one of them up, and inside, let me find it. No, that's not it. Really?
Sure.
Hold on here. Sorry. On page 77. Okay. Well. Right, fine, I'll just do it this way. It's so weird because I I remember specifically doing this.
Did he bring me a case of scotch?
Better. He brought you something better, and each of you will get one. In the case, each case, there are 4 of them, is one of these. So these are Sindalian heavy laser pistols, and they also include a full set of accessories, including a stock and foregrip, so that it'll turn it into a small carbine. I mean, that only increases the range to 75 meters, but these, unlike most laser weapons, these do not have a cord going from them to a pack on your belt or on your back. These actually use a expendable battery just it's a magazine-like battery that can be removed and replaced, and giving it 20 shots. Now, the other thing that's cool about these is it has an overcharge mode, where the damage will be increased to 5D instead of 4D, and if you do that, you have to roll 1D. If you get a 6+, then the power pack is basically ruined. But it will, in that shot, it will do an additional 1D worth of damage. So he gives you each one of these guns. It comes with a fancy holster, and he tells you that that in the days gone by, and each of these are highly ornate. They're engraved and the whole works. He tells you, he says that these were given with a finely tooled leather belt. You can see this holster. It bears the royal crest of Drinax, inlaid with silver, and honestly, it's surprisingly tasteful considering some of the stuff, like the Hawkmen, their ceremonial armor. This looks actually, kind of fancy compared to that, whereas the other stuff kind of looks like a joke. And he tells you that in the past, these were given out by the Emperor of Sindal to chosen members of the military as a reward.
So it's a good uniform piece.
Oh, it is. Well, and I mean it does some fair damage too at 4D for a pistol.
Oh, I hear you, but I mean, like, we could wear this to court and
Oh, yeah.
all kinds of things. Yeah,
Completely.
Yeah, while I don't use the pistol, I'll sure put it on my uniform when I walk in, and especially if it matches. Yeah.
Yeah, he said that he actually found a cache of these in the fortress on Asim, and so he had brought some of these with him, and he's been meaning to reward you before, but he says he's kind of glad that he waited, because this seems like a very good time to reward you with this. And he tells you that he says, so I want you to go forth. I want you to intercept this ship, Principal Profiteer, take her cargo. He says, I would prefer to have at least some of that cargo, as much as possible, since I'm going to need it, but however you decide that is the best route forward for you is, of course, you're the boots on the ground, so it's up to you how to do that. He says, along the way, he says, find out more about this biochemical weapon that you encountered on Paul. He says, it's ideally, it would be excellent to have that in my possession. He says, but he says biochemical weapons are a two-edged sword, as are planet buster nukes. He says the reality is that even if I had it, I would not really be able to use it without becoming a complete pariah. So find out more about this. He says, so in short, your mission is build cooperation with Prince Richter and try to find out more about him. And he says, intercept Principal Profiteer at Theev and steal her cargo for profit. And incidentally, that will please Richter and deny the Hati their expected cargo, so everybody kind of wins there. And he says, 3, find out more about the biochemical weapon and possibly secure it. And 4, bring me riches.
All right, will do. I'll shake his hand.
Has he got any information on our missing pirate lord? Has he heard anything about that?
He hasn't, but he is not.
That's for another place around.
He's not really privy to the same circles that you are.
Understand. Still, just trying to fish up same information on
I
shit
mean,
that we
I
keep
think if
looking
he
at.
was alive, we would have been attacked on our way in. Like, I'm almost certain, right? That's where
I
I'd
think,
hide.
We
yeah.
can at least ask the other pirate lords what they've heard.
yeah,
Well, we'll have
you could set up a council of lords and call Admiral Dorokin and get everybody together and see what they've heard.
Okay.
Yep, sounds like a good idea before we leave. Theev, we got a lot of shit we got to do on Theev before we can really.
Yeah, and I need laser. Now that I have energy skills, I need a couple more laser weapons to go with this handy dandy pretty heavy laser pistol.
Okay, so
Yeah, I
And
agree.
a couple dozen grenades and a RPG-7.
So between now and next week, go ahead and make yourselves a shopping list, because Theev, the best part about Theev is that it is a high tech level of 15 and a low law level. So pretty much anything is available here.
Can I get some more wafers with this with the actual physical skills here?
I'm certain that you could. Everything is available. Wafers and things of that nature, definitely. Especially in the upper city, where most of the cybernetics and things like that are sold.
Is there a way that we could get some spreadsheets or something put up? Maybe a journal entry or something of some sort, where we can have all our ships and kind of just a basic rundown on what kind of crew we're actually rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a sheet. I would need to update it of your current list of ships in your fleet. How
many are here at Thieves?
There are none of your ships. I mean, other than the Harriers and the Osiris, none of your other ships are at Theev. They are all at Tech World, acting as
system defense.
System defense, yeah.
But this gives us 4 ships right here in Thieves.
Right.
Correct. And that's mostly what I'm concerned with, not nearly as much as because it seems like we've just kind of lost that fleet.
They better have a pretty damn good escort on that. What was it, a far trader or a free trader?
Well, I mean, if we get a third of the value of the far trader, that's probably at least 10 million credits. And if we get those 10 million credits, that pays for all the crew and a nice chunk set. I mean, I'm sure 1 million credits of the overhaul of selling the ship would pay the crew of all 4 ships. And then you take like another million and divide it amongst the player guys. And so that leaves like 8 million for the ship kitty. You could even kick the prince of our favor choosing, a couple million and still make a good chunk for the ship.
Right.
And that's just the ship. The fact that he's going to give us a third of value, that's huge, I think. I mean, these far traders, that's at least that's at least 30 million credits, isn't it?
I don't know.
I mean, at total max value.
Let's see here. It says, there it is. So max there, yeah. Well, wrong far trader. I wanted the other far trader. There's the other far trader. So A2 hero class, or it is 57.5 million.
All right, yeah. So I mean, if it's slightly used and damaged, it might be around 30 million then, and a third of 30 million is 10 million. So I mean, really, in theory, without seeing the ship, just if we take the ship cleanly, I mean, you're looking at a 10 million plus haul just from that.
Yeah, and you haven't even gotten to the cargo yet.
Right. Which, I mean, we could give that to our Prince guy and he would be happy. And then the other Prince that, the other H that we don't like, we need a third H Prince so we could be triple H. But, he would be happy that we stopped the shipment, and we don't even have to fuck with the fucking Aslan on the land. Then we just go be space pirates, seize, overtake, and then fly that motherfucker wherever we want it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we will pick this up next week. So make your shopping list of what you want to purchase on Theev as far as weapons and equipment, and I will come up with pricing for hiring a crew for each of the Harriers, and we will pick this up next week at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night.
Thanks. It was
Looking
really
forward
fun.
to it. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Enjoyed it,
Had a lot of
guys.
fun.
All
Yeah.
right, have a good night, guys.
Thanks. Good night.